just waiting it. Oh, there we go. Can you guys let me know if you can hear me just fine? I have attempted to work my OBS camera, and for some reason it doesn't. I updated my OBS, and when I do my video capture device, it doesn't blend me into the background. Now I'm going to try one more time. I might try and make myself as small as possible as such. That should be a bit better. But in any case, let me know if you guys can see everything, and I'll get started. So I do have a little camera in the corner, which I'm actually going to quickly just check. We'll just wait a little bit. Loud and clear. Is it showing me on camera? I'm sorry I can't blend it in. Let me know if you just want me to remove the camera. I can easily just do that as well. Blending mode. Add. Oh, no. Hey, Willie K. No Jack. It's 6 people waiting. Am I in the corner? No, it doesn't look like it. We'll just quickly jump to Discord. I just removed myself from the corner. I don't think that looks good. I might just get started. Maybe there's not that many people here. Given absolutely no one asked me to go over anything except knackers on Phantom and Equal, I'll quickly take a look at that, and then I'll kind of just take any questions, I guess, and won't waste people's time just going over stuff they don't want to see, because obviously you can reread any of my last two pretty much market updates, my Mt. Gox article, my dollar cost average on Bitcoin, whatever you need to kind of guide you through this time. I tried to get out as much information as I possibly could to help you guys kind of make your own informed decisions about how to invest currently, providing you with my own kind of way I saw things. And that kind of kick-started the DXY, which I'll quickly just look at, which for those that have kind of been with me since 2022, since I took over the Trading Academy, you pretty much know the entire analysis has sat in this ascending parallel channel that's 4 years long now, 4.5 years long now. You know, you can see it started, 2022. Where it's insanely clean, where we did fake out mid-year. It's crazy if you kind of go through CPI versus the fundamentals of the DXY and the USD, and pretty much at this point here is exactly where CPI reversed, and we had, if you guys remember, we had CPI trending downwards from whatever it was, 7, 8%, 9%, down to as low as kind of 3 to 4% before inflation started heating up again. The potential for rate cuts was slashed. And if you remember my analysis, I thought rate cuts were going to become a lot sooner, with a lot big of a blow off top a lot earlier. Obviously the timing was pretty well off, but the idea kind of still remains the same, where eventually, as opposed to here or here, I think here was where it tapped its major golden pocket, and it had a really strong technical bounce. I will just kind of check that. Yeah, you can see it tapped at 618 here. Confluence of these lows, this kind of range, and this ascending parallel channel, and that's where it continued to bounce, and so on and so forth. But really, what I'm looking for here is, if I quickly get up, I will just get up CME group and double check that this can get seen on my screen. Yeah. If you guys ever want to check, rate cuts, I'll post this link for you guys if you need it. But this is the CME Group Fed Watch tool, which really is a good tool to use to grasp, how CME sees the upcoming FOMC meetings, and according to interest rate traders, you can use this tool to track their probabilities, and usually they're pretty accurate. I can't really remember a time in the last 2 years we've been caught off guard with this. But in any case, what interests us is not here. The current cash rate is 525 to 550. It's 91% going to stay the same on the 31st of July. But if we go to September, and you kind of see that there isn't even a possibility of the rates remaining the same. So 0%. Really, the battle right now with the current data. I think Jerome did come out recently and say today that they're actually not even looking for 2% anymore. Once again, if you remember my analysis of the great Jebediah Powell, I kind of talked about how people take him for his word and the feds never tell you the truth. They're going to tell you 2% the whole time. They're never going to get there. And I kind of talked about the deflationary bust eventually happening, but times have changed, and for now we have a 100% chance of a rate cut in September, with 85 saying they'll cut it 25 BPS, 14% thinking 50 BPS, and 0.5 thinking almost 75 BPS. So that's the good news for alts and for risk on environment, where if you go back and read my Mt. Gox article or my discussions for the next 6 to 18 months as to why I was rather bullish as opposed to bearish, and it was because I eventually like to see this DXY lose this channel and visit lower levels. I've gone over pretty much on every live stream as to why this is a good thing for commodity markets, particularly Bitcoin and stonk markets as well, is that usually more often than not there is an inverse relationship. You can see this very clearly really between the whole DXY chart over a long time frame. With those commodity markets and stock markets, not always is it accurate, but for the most part it is. I've placed several reasons in those articles and prior updates as to why that is the case. So if you need to go back and read that, feel free to do so. Jenks is here. G'day Ryan Jenkin. Haven't seen Bob here in a while. It's good to see you, mate. Maybe it's the green market that's getting you back to me. Haven't seen you trade or invest in a while. You're too busy with DeFi and building houses on the shore of Sydney, I think. But it's good to see you here, Bobby. Great to see you. And so I kind of spoke about stock markets, and I was interested in the reaction that these markets would get from Trump. They've been kind of muted to start this week, but if we kind of look at MACD and RSI, I actually just can't even fathom how crazy this shit is. It's been up only for stonks, continuing where pretty much it's reaching their highest point on MACD resistance. You can see that each time it's touched here, we've topped out. Same on RSI, but like we topped out on RSI here, chopped down, and we just had one huge sell-off where it perfectly bottomed. We've re-rallied to new highs. So, there's no saying that in these stock markets, eventually they can't just literally go up forever, even though they do on a high time frame, but on a low time frame, we can expect eventually there could be a cool off where we'll see Nvidia and stuff, those kind of tech bubble stocks maybe crunched a little harder, or we see various sell-offs. I can go over rate cuts and how these impact on stock markets at a different point. I won't now, but really, if you go through my articles and recent updates, I've kind of spoken about how the hardest part has been how the correlation coefficient between these markets and Bitcoin has come down a considerable amount this year as stonks have continued upwards, as Bitcoin's kind of traded and then pumped and then dumped and then done whatever. But the good news is, with Trump pretty much confirming his victory in the election, at least that's what most people think, and the fact that he's gotten a vice president that's very crypto bullish as well. Like we've literally in the last week seen, you can even say from yesterday, the MicroStrategy stock is up 21%. This is a multi-billion-dollar stock. It's up 20%. Mara's up. Mara's up 30% almost. I can go through a number of. Coinbase is up. Trumpy, just size 15%. But in any case, understanding, just how good this is for stonks, particularly crypto stocks. And then obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, which we're seeing actually quite a fair pullback. Obviously this morning was very bullish into the daily close, even post daily close. If I get like an hourly up here, I'll show you kind of how the timing of it was. But the daily close was, this is the daily close here. Here. So, for 4 to 5 hours this afternoon, we actually held up here, consolidated at resistance at around 65K. If you do want to see just the logic behind why 65K is somewhat a resistance and support level. It's more of an SR flip as opposed to, a Fibonacci retracement or anything, but it's really clear to you, why once you kind of draw this, right? Support, reject resistance, reject resistance, reject resistance, support, right back test this resistance, and we've come and we've tried to reclaim 65k, but have rejected as resistance for now. Don't panic. One thing I will say is, of course, no doubt that that Mt. Gox waited 4 days for Bitcoin to pump $10,000 before they started sending various amounts of Bitcoin to new cold storage wallets. I think the distribution for Mt. Gox is from July 1st, so it should have started 16 days ago, to September 1st, is it? Or someone can correct me, maybe September 30. G'day Danny, how you going? But yeah, more importantly is it's the same notion that I was trying to get to you guys about, Germany and Mt. Gox. These are short-term fundamental FUDs that we can't help. I'm sorry, but it's always a guessing game as to how the market reacts to these things, but on a low time frame, and it's what I tried to get at the point with my recent analysis throughout recent weeks, particularly that Mt. Gox article when all this FUD began to drop, was to get you guys to understand why at the moment it's a reaccumulation phase, and kind of your best option is to dollar cost average, is because to me the long-term prosperity and high time frame movements of Bitcoin is pretty clear. What isn't clear to me, and what everyone tries to guess and what everyone tries to time, are the local bottoms and tops or the low time frame movements. Now, I've kind of made the comment that this recent period, ever since we've entered up here, for any day traders out there or even traders and investors, I think we can all admit this has been the hardest period to kind of grasp what's occurring. We had ETH before the halving. We had Bitcoin ETFs just constantly buying every single day, regardless of what's occurring. We've had the halving, Mt. Gox, Germany, US government, Donald Trump being involved. Everything from fundamentals to technicals has made this very hard to grasp and to understand low to short time frame movements. So as retail investors, which is what you guys are, it's what I am, our best course of action is that if we have enough conviction and confidence in where prices are going over the long term, is to look after ourselves in terms of that. So I did kind of make that post into here, where I said I think I made when price was coming down this downtrend, I said this is our first major level of support, where you should begin buying Bitcoin and dollar cost averaging and adding either periodically on, let's just say you're looking for 10 units of Bitcoin or whatever it is, even into alts, that you should begin doing it periodically, say a certain amount of day over X amount of periods, or you should actually use the technicals to then dollar cost average into these. Obviously the first level's hit, it didn't last long. But if you are seeking more Bitcoin, I'm not going to tell, at the end of the day, if you're buying here versus buying here versus buying here, you're probably going to make a profit if you do believe in the targets that are going to be reached this cycle comparably with other cycles, which is what I believe. And as I said, the beauty of using technicals is that if we cut below a level, you can then cut your positions. You don't have to blindly hold them down, or you can reassess if we reclaim. But usually I tell my students or my members not to try and get too cute with timing entries, because you're just going to be left sidelined, which majority of people are right now. I can guarantee that majority of people that sold down here are either sidelined or have had to rebuy up here, particularly people that sold down here. That of course wasn't us. But the point still stands. And I even want to talk about these two levels. Don't think just because we're out of the woods now, I'm not asserting that 100% the bottom's in, or that 100% we're just going to continue pumping upwards. Whilst I do take a position now that 60k has been reclaimed, as well as 63k is looking to stay there and reclaim. If we do reclaim 67, I'm fully confident we'll make new all-time highs. But I'm not going to just blindly say that this price action just leads us to automatically make new all-time highs or never revisit these lows. Both of these, even the bullish bat harmonic, still has a case to be said. It still has some time to make price go down there, and wouldn't this be some generational fact? I'm not trying to make people bearish, I apologize, but I do just want to make this, the case that, there is a chance that the bullish harmonic can always create other technical price movements and then hit a point a bit later on. So even if I was to draw, something like this, actually I'm not going to bother, but in saying that, price can still on this harmonic come to here and then still gravitate down to here. I thought I'd just make that known. So I'm not going to just assert that both bearish patterns are invalidated, including the double top. But in saying that, they're looking much more, I did kind of have a double top target of 52 to 44k. We've kind of front run that. But something to keep an eye on if this Mt. Gox FUD still does really bash this market around, as I've kind of stated. People in this market can stay irrational longer than you can stay rational. As you can see, I'm going to quickly just get up. We'll just see if there's any further Mt. Gox news. They're probably shifting more to wallets and people shit themselves and sell as per. So I see something here. They're still at 44k BTC. They moved 2.84 billion of BTC just before. So that's as much as Germany just sold. So once again, to kind of explain that dynamic, please go through that article and understand that not everyone's selling. Many people can receive this Bitcoin and hold it. I suspect that once Bitcoin maxes, that's really hard to kind of ascertain how much of it will get sold. But yeah, I wouldn't liken this to the worst scenario in the world. It's over 3 months. We could pump through it, we could dump through it. Take it slow, take it time by time, take it level to level, and just continue to dollar cost average into our high conviction tokens, Bitcoin and Ethereum, particularly if you're new. Obviously everyone's context is different. If you're a bit lost, you can always message the chat and ask. But that's the way I see things now. That's the way I'll continue to see things. Quickly will show why I am I'm a lot more confident today, and even why I got some buys out was because I said the most important thing for us to do in terms of the Bitcoin chart, in terms of reclaim, was to reclaim the yearly VWAP first. That's held as support this entire time. You can see what happened as soon as it was lost, as well as 200 MA, which has pretty much been flipped to support this whole bull market. Besides, when we lost 25k, rejected as resistance, rejected. You can see the result. After we reclaimed it. I did make mention of this in my articles or in my market updates that the last few times the percentage gains of reclaiming it after losing it were huge, and you can kind of see the instant mega pump result of reclaiming both of these at once, breaking downtrend, reclaiming the deviation low, range low, then value area low with back tests, as well as the range 382. We then took out the weekly high target that I mentioned was my first target, and then we've obviously begun to seriously pretty much dump off this Mt. Gox FUD, which I just find pretty much hilarious. But in saying that, what's important about this current pump and why I may cut recent positions I bought, I obviously can't predict it. Once we reclaim 65k, I was pretty confident that we'd just keep going. I couldn't predict that all these Mt. Gox movements would happen on the very day that we pretty much have our best pump in 2 months, 3 months. So I will just keep an eye on those, and I may cut them and reinvest soon, because if I get the idea that we're losing 61k, 60k, we're just going to revisit lows or head lower. Those alts will probably lose 30 to 50%. There's no point in me just blindly holding them when I can maybe sell them for a small 10 to 20% loss and reinvest a bit lower, get a much better average buy. But this price action is wild to think that we actually pumped 2.5k or more than that. We've dropped 2.5k, so we've almost pretty much erased the entire yesterday's daily candle, which is, once I say, hilarious. But the best part is, if Mt. Gox are continue to sell, I think the most stark thing to me was that the inflows for Bitcoin in the ETFs was pretty much the best they've ever been in the last 2 weeks. So one could just happily assert this was just a change of hands from Germany to Larry Fink, and I don't think that the Mt. Gox situation is going to be much different. I think that man will continuously buy forever if you're able to read my article and read watch that video that I posted this morning of him bullishly talking about Bitcoin. So In saying that, still fully confident. What I will watch is for retests of this level of the value area low in 382, as well as really just the range low around 59 to 60k, and ensuring that holds. If we just lose that and lose the range low again, well, this was just one giant fake out to grab a ton of liquidity, probably wreck a few upside shorts before seeking long side liquidity to the downside. But in any case, I'm still remaining quite confident and bullish. One reason for that is we had RSI reach our daily lows, which I've shown multiple times now in multiple updates as confluence as to why I thought we had bottomed or we were close to bottoming. I've shown the past few times where this had happened. You can see it very clearly. So let me get rid of that. And it was the exact same result, wasn't it? So I've circled the last three times it actually dipped into oversold territory on RSI. It was our 16k bottom, our Silvergate 19k sell off, our 23k long cascade, and then our Germany sell off. So I don't know whether this comes back to here, we get a pump, and then it comes down from Mount Gox and we go again. I can't predict price, but showing you the reasons as to why I was pretty confident that we would at least rally or get some relief rally going. Obviously MACD is a big one that did have a bullish cross, and it still is looking very green very fast. So if we get maybe a slight pullback, this will remain green, but if we get that bounce and that confirmation of a bullish retest of some level of support, even 60k, you can see why that's so important here. To confirm the SR flip that we're remaining in range, then yeah, all things are good. One thing I will continue to keep an eye on for all of us is the hash ribbons indicator, which has proven to be one of the greatest indicators in Bitcoin time after time. We've had the capitulation. Miners now aren't actually selling. They're holding on to the reserves. We need to wait for the SMAs to cross back over and give us that buy signal before we can probably confirm that we're in pretty safe waters. I have been showing the correlation between miners selling off and Bitcoin's price. You can see, just how clear this is when I show you. When I show you that here. You can see the correlation between price and miner reserves, right? Like, look how clear. I can't make this kind of any more clearer. But it follows pretty much the exact same path. One of the worst kind of things that people weren't realizing in recent times that was occurring was post-halving, obviously given transactional sizes and fees heavily shrank, as well as the the halving rewards being slashed in half. The rewards for Bitcoin being slashed in half. Miners dumping their Bitcoin that whole time wasn't great either. I was adding to all the selling pressure. But you can see pretty much since the start of June, the start of July, in both of these, that since miners have kind of stopped selling, that the Bitcoin price has followed. Now this will be a good thing for when the hash ribbons. So that's why I'm keeping an eye on it as confluence to see if we really confirm that miners are refusing to sell, get a hash ribbons SMA crossover, and then we can go from there and use that as confluence in our longer term thesis ideas for Bitcoin. But it's still looking good. And what I'll do now is I'll quickly look at Phantom to answer. It's actually crazy like how hard Alta dumped. If you look here, Sol was at 160 earlier, Phantom was at 53, almost 54 cents. This has come down 5 cents. Jupiter, ENS is down $2. It's pretty funny, and I kind of use that and all good Davo for not making it. I use that kind of sentence in the Mount Goxing that the market can stay stupid and more rational for longer than you think, and that's what I find the funniest part about this. So even thinking about Ethereum, is Ethereum dumped from let's call this the Pico top. Ethereum dumped $700 on Germany selling fears. Do you want to know how much Ethereum the German government held? They hold 0 Ethereum. So in any case, ETH is coming for this good back test. We've obviously got the ETH ETF in exactly 7 days. I'll say 8 days because American timing, but this was the exact reason why I looked to get into ENS at this time. Not too fast in short-term pullbacks. If you had times ready to buy post, and I did kind of buy on this reclaim of this huge breaking out of bear market range. You can see it's failed to break out of heaps of times. I couldn't predict that Mt. Gox would decide to introduce themselves yet again today after we giga pumped, and then I can't predict that people would decide to sell Ethereum name service because of that. But this is one of the greater beta plays. So if you need to go back and revisit that Ethereum beta play live stream, I suggest doing so, because I explain how this is a business. We're looking for institutional projects that a marginal buyer for the Ethereum ETF may be interested in getting exposure to. So these will be ones with solid balance sheets, income statements, that are actually businesses that are making a profit, got a revenue stream, etc., etc. I think Ethereum name service along with LDO and Maker are one of those, and I chose it. Ethereum name service is one of the ones to get involved with today. As noted, I may cut this position if the market looks like shit and this Mt. Gox fight really does shake people. I don't think it should. In any case, if we get around to these lows or maybe to this GP, I will look to probably buy more and add to my position given the long-term prosperity I think both Ethereum and some of its beta plays should have. And the same really goes for Jupiter, right? I've been sending this chart in for a fair while, for some time. And this is more a technical buy and obviously fundamental buy, as I'm looking to play Jupiter as my secondary beta play to the Solana ecosystem, which I do think, regardless of an ETF, I do expect Phantom to be very good if the foundation and Andre stop fucking us. But this is pretty much the biggest aggregate swap or DEX aggregator, liquidity provider and whatnot for the Solana ecosystem. Thus, as Solana rocketed in the early months of this year, this went from, as low as 50 cents, tripled almost 4x to $1.85. I expect that if meme coin super cycle and people are still to use Solana throughout this next impending alt season, then the number one DEX aggregator for Solana should outperform most projects as well that exist in other ecosystems. And the reason why I was keen to get involved with Jupiter was because of the technical chart too. Price had come down a considerable amount from roughly $1.85 to as low as 63 cents, which is 65% pullback. I don't see this project as being any worse than what it was in the top of the altcoin market in March. It's probably only improved considering it's pretty new. But really seeing it to its full 786 retracement, reclaiming its point of control, i.e. its highest volume area and its highest, on this entire chart, including the confluence of the value area low to the 786, as well as, this is a major SR flip too. So I've kind of made the comment in the buy post today that it's kind of similar to ENS in that if the market looks like shit, which is giga dumping now. So what are we at on Bitcoin? Almost 62.5. I'm not too fussed, this is a couple cents here and now. I'm not going to stress over it. If I have long-term prosperity of Jupiter reaching, $2 plus, I do expect to get to $3 to $4 if we really have a really big push, which will represent a 4 to 5x to me. So, losing a couple cents here and now, I'm not going to freak out over. I'm just going to understand it. Now, this is a period where alts may chop. If we head lower into this SR flip, I'm going to add to Jupiter. As I said, if the market starts to look crap, I can probably maybe cut it for a small loss and then seek to enter lower if I do believe that Bitcoin, Mt. Gox and other things will cause the market to go lower, which I don't actually believe for the time being. So thus I'll stay pretty similar. But as mentioned, along with WIF, you can see how hard WIF and particularly Pepe's beta plays to these two ecosystems as those first ones I played as both meme super cycle ones and as both beta plays. You can see how hard these rocket, it's literally rocketed since yesterday as much as 50% in a multi-billion-dollar meme. Think how much 50% is in 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is. Crazy. So not stressing over these two. I will stress over them if the market never turns, because then they'll go to zero. But if we're all here to believe in an alt season, that memes are here to stay around, and that the Solana and Ethereum ecosystems will outperform, then I think these two memes are very good value propositions as a risk-reward, play to have, as well as then looking for those solid fee-generating revenue streams such as ENS and Jupiter that are very big projects in the ecosystem too. So that's a quick explanation of why I invested in both of those, how I see Bitcoin for the time being, and Mt. Gox. Obviously, the DXY and stocks look pretty good as well. I don't have to continue to discuss stuff like Trump. You guys probably all bored of that already, but just seeing Bitcoin at least yesterday reclaim that yearly VWAP reclaim that 200 moving average, reclaim the 382 and value area low, reclaim the range low. You know, we bounced from the most fear and greed we've had since 18k Bitcoin. All the long side liquidity was at least wiped down to 53k. You know, Germany's fully out of Bitcoin. Miners are no longer selling. You know, Trump is living and is still bullish on Bitcoin. He's speaking at the Bitcoin Nashville conference, which I'll be at next week, that I can report to you all on. Wear a bulletproof vest, don't worry Danny, don't worry Jenks, I'll get a bulletproof vest on. Cal said he'd get me one. You know, we've had pretty much 90 days completed post-halving almost, you know, in 4 or 5 days. You know, Taylor and I have been speaking extensively on the podcast about this, that if you like to follow the cycle cyclically, then, you know, this has happened every single cycle post-halving. We've obviously got cooling CPI data now, 100% chance of rate cuts in September, daily RSI huge bounces and a bullish croc on MACD. So, you know, irrespective, we see these pullbacks. I tell people constantly, you only have to look at this chart that nothing goes in a straight line. Even when we giga pump, we get pullbacks, you know, giga pump, pullback, giga pump, pullback, pump, you know, pump, pullback, and then repump. So, you know, candle doing this, you can't just have, you know, 10 green candles in a row. It's very rare we see that go back through the whole Bitcoin chart. I highly doubt there's such thing as any 10 green days in a row. I'd actually be interested in finding it. So, yeah, don't fear. Obviously, I'll notify you guys. You know, it's really, really dumping now. But I'll notify you guys if we break structurally below any serious levels. But I'm not stressing unless 60k and then 59k are lost. As this will probably just represent one big liquidity grab. But, you know, heading into the Ethereum ETF next week with the current bullish fundamentals we have and the reclaim of these technical levels, you know, I'm just going to remain patient, remain super happy, dollar cost average and accumulate where I can. And then obviously I'll be in touch with you guys if I have any further new projects we'll invest in, as there are a few others that I'm eyeing. But I will quickly look at the Phantom ecosystem for knackers, as you did ask. You know, the Phantom, I've explained this over and over, but, you know, as I said, when we touched here, I sent out, and, you know, we're trading in here, I said, you know, anywhere from here to the 886, you know, that's 29 to about, you know, 50 cents, you know, I think is a great place to accumulate Phantom, because just to explain to you, knackers, you know, I think you asked me what my expectations are. You know, you're probably investing in it, you know, around here thinking, well, what does he think it'll get to? Well, my logic likes to just think about it that, you know, last cycle had an all-time high of $3.50. Sonic Tech, the way Phantom works, the foundations, the investors, 10 times as strong as what they were back then. Unfortunately, Phantom's has experienced multiple, not only one of the worst bear markets, well, the worst bear market that the industry ever endured, but it also experienced multiple incidents and black swans, which we have Andre to thank, as well as a few others, multi-chain and whatnot. But really, it needs to really reclaim this SR flip, which is failing to do. If we look at the 200-day MA, you know, how did it support this whole time? And you can see when it back tested, rejected, how hard the drop was. So I don't know how long this is going to take on Phantom, but there's a pretty strong, and, you know, this was on the rumors of Sonic getting released, and then it got delayed, and then the altcoin market topped. So even on the rumors, you know, it's close to a 3x for Phantom here, and then it's an all-time high. It's $3.50, so that's a 7x. I expect Phantom, if it's as good as what it says it is, and if the market actually appreciates layer ones with technology that exceeds everyone else's technology, I actually expect Phantom to be double figures. So I'll probably put my target anywhere between $5 to $10 knackers, and that's just the truth. And I'm happy to die on that sword and be wrong about it, because it's just how it should be. But as I said, the market could stay irrational longer than I can have a rational investing thesis. But Sonic should have the fastest transaction speed with finality as well. So if people prefer cheapest gas fees with the fastest transaction speeds, and Phantom can actually get projects as good as Equal continuing to build on them, then, you know, even Equal has an all-time high of a couple of months ago, $22, and it trades at 7 now. You know, that's an instant 3x on a project that has about a $10 to $15 million market cap. I expect Equal, if Phantom's as good as what it is, the number one DEX liquidity and swap provider would probably be at 100 million plus. So it's a 10 to 15x from here on Equal as well. So they're just my targets. Maybe unrealistic to you. Maybe you're a bit disappointed by them. I'm not too sure. but that's what I'm thinking for Phantom and Equal. And g'day Peter, I hope you're well. I haven't heard from you in a while either. All my veterans are coming out to show out, are they? Beautiful. But in any case, I think it's only just 6 people here. Jack, Cal, Daniel, Peter, Shanks and Willie K. Given that I said I wouldn't hold you here for too long, and given no one asked any questions, does anyone have any, or you want me to look at anything specific? Any projects you want me to go through? Any fundamentals you want me to speak on? Anything on Bitcoin, Ethereum, the new projects, any older ones that you're thinking you want to ask me where you accumulate them at? Technical levels I can take a look at. If not, it's already been 35 to 40 minutes anyway with me crapping on, so I can wrap it up and let you guys go have dinner or play some Age of Empires if you like, because that's what I might be doing. So I'll just wait a little bit because I know there's lag, so I'll look in the Discord and I'll look in the YouTube chat. If anyone has any questions, just let me know and I'll go through them now. I'll wait 1 minute, 2 minutes. Ryan's all good, easy peasy, bro. When's the Origin on, Ryan? Is that tomorrow night? I think it is. Let me quickly check. Might rustle a few Queensland feathers in here, but I'm a Blues man. I'm a Blues man. State of Origin. When is this crap? Yeah, it's tomorrow night. Ooh, Blues underdogs. Maybe get on a same game multi. Brian, Tio, Stephen Crichton, and Jerome Luai all for a tub. For a try maybe. I'll be watching that, Ryan, and I'll shoot you a message during the game. Go you good Blues. Alrighty, doesn't seem like any questions from anyone. Thanks Cal, Jack, Will, Ryan, Danny and Peter for rocking up. I think it says 6, so that should be you 6. So if there's anyone else, apologies I couldn't get to you. But I'll continue to, what I'll do from now on, just so you guys know, is I do leave to the States next Tuesday. Now I've got some time where I did kind of wanted to go through alts that people wanted me to show how to accumulate or dollar cost average into those further if we got reclaims or if we saw lower. But what I'll spend now is at least on all the high conviction tokens. I'll update all of those before I leave on Tuesday with both the recent fundamental showings and news for them. And I'll update them with charts as well, and you guys can continue to make a decision on whether you want to accumulate those further or if you had missed out on them. I think everyone here, Ryan, Peter, Daniel, Jack, actually pretty much everyone here except for maybe Willie K. I'm not too sure about you. I don't have 100% clarity, but you know, we're all been investing since 2022, so there's not probably too many high conviction tokens we need to accumulate further. We just probably need to be a bit more patient. But in any case, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing BTCF. Coins like Phantom, Solana, Prime really show their stuff in an alt season, and when that full liquidity and bullishness come back, because I feel like it's been briefly lost for the time being. So, you know, all praise to the market. Let's hope it does what we want. I'll keep you guys updated in the Discord, and appreciate everyone for showing out and for coming to support. Cheers. To Zach Shinton, is Polkadot dead? Yeah, Zach, I'm not sure if you saw, we kind of sold that a few months ago. If I get, sorry, I will just get this up. Investments. What I will say, Zach, is I did a detailed post on why I was selling off on Dot and Atom. If we go quickly, sorry, I will just get it up. Polkadot. Zach, sorry, I will just get this up quickly. Yeah, so I bought Polkadot for us. Obviously, Polkadot was one of our best performers of the last cycle, and for those that actually remember last cycle, Polkadot was pretty much across the board. Interoperability was really highly sought after, and kind of bring together a blockchain was a really tough thing to grasp last cycle. So Polkadot, Atom, and those kind of projects that targeted it were, you know, really big gainers. At the bottom of the market, pretty much, I bought Polkadot for us at $6.20. That's at the bottom of FTX. So let's take a look at it now. It's $6.20. Isn't that funny? So at 62,000 Bitcoin, when we bought it in September, 17th of September at $6.20. Fast forward 2 years later, it's at the exact same price. We obviously had as high as probably a 2x on it at one point. The altcoin top, when we traded kind of back down to here at around $6, $7 or whatever it was. I actually can't remember what this said. You know, I sold off a number of investments we had. Gala was one, Atom, Dot. There were a huge amount that I de-risked from the market after we did top out, and it was because the narratives, industries, and how to invest in this market obviously changed from the point that I was buying things here, and you know, I had to adjust my strategy, or at least adjust my own portfolio, and obviously this service is what I do, and that's because I didn't see the point in holding older technology that people didn't really want to invest in. Obviously I saw meme super cycles, Solana, RWA, AI, L1s as things that were sought after. And what I actually did was I decided, given I invested in Axler, which was like the new shiny toy for this industry, you know, I know Axler looks like crap now, and I haven't actually dollar cost averaged into it because, you know, I'm kind of just over this interoperability thing. Where's Simon told me to buy? And you can see what happened. You know, we bought this, and as the new shiny toy, it outperformed .NAT that much that we had, you know, 3x on it. I didn't sell any because, for a plethora of reasons that you guys understand. It's now trading below that Pico top, where Bitcoin was a few $1,000s higher, 20% lower. So I'm just not adding to Axler yet. I'm remaining pretty patient. I still believe this is the shiny toy of that industry. So for someone like Zach, if you're into that, type of thing. I don't even know if Zach's watching. Maybe he's not, but maybe someone else wants to know about Dot. That, you know, go for the newer projects. Dot had a considerable amount of FUD with how they use their treasury recently, on how they use it on marketing. They paid a lot of shitty influencers on crypto, Twitter, and YouTube to try and pump their project up. This obviously came out in their financials where they spent like $30 million on this type of crap. And I honestly don't know about you guys, but I don't see a single thing about Polkadot on Twitter, on YouTube, on nothing. It's like no one uses it anymore and it's forgotten about. So I guess that's my general opinion on Polkadot. So this is Axler, but that was the reason why I de-risked it from us, for us. To be honest, it has a really high time frame, strong bottom here. I said when we flipped this area to support the first time, I said you'll never see Dot below $5 again. It wicked to it, so it was actually here. It wicked to it, and you know, it's still remaining true. So if you are a high conviction Dot holder, I would kind of just use $5 as your own validation. I imagine most people here have an average buy anywhere between $5 to $10, $15. Just either add here or cut below here. I can't imagine it gets that much worse for Polkadot. So at least that's one positive out of it. But that's just my reasoning as to why I sold it off, and you know why I kind of think it's a bit of dino technology, and I think people prefer the shiny and newer projects and toys that are offering probably a bit more. And you know, you can think of plenty of examples in other industries. You know, XRP is one that's never even gotten back to 2017 all-time highs, which are, you know, currently 4 times higher. So 2021, I think it had higher in even 2017. So that's just one small example. But just because they worked in prior cycles can't get sucked in now with these new cycles, with this new type of cycle. That not everything just raises, and I've gone through this extensively in market updates, explaining Discord and how we've had to change our strategy to kind of focus on high conviction tokens, because not everything just goes up anymore like it did in prior cycles, unfortunately. And we can't obviously predict that. So any more questions? I will just wait one more minute. We'll just Alrighty, we all good? I think we are. No more questions in the YouTube. No more of them in the Discord. Alrighty, we shall wrap that up there. Thanks everyone for coming. I look forward to doing these when we're back. I hope somewhat we get some little magic happening whereby the next time I live stream, hopefully this is at 80,000, this is at 4,500, this is back at $1, and this is back at 200. You know, I'm being kind of wishful thinking here, but wouldn't it make a good clip at least if we were back at those levels? Alrighty guys, appreciate it for you guys for all coming out again, for those that come every week. Muchas gracias, and I'll see you guys in the Discord. Appreciate it.